All right, testing, testing. It is April 26th. Good morning and welcome to another office hours. Today I'm just going to be going over some of my YouTube comments over the weekend. I didn't sleep that much, I guess, this weekend. I slept okay last night, but right now I'm just like so groggy. Like, I might yawn in the middle of the stream. I'm just like, I drank a whole cup of coffee. My body's still not fully awaking, but you know what? It's already 11. I want to get started. So let's get into the YouTube comments and then maybe skim over some conversations that we had in Discord as well. Let me shift this over. Boop, boop. Okay, that's Discord. All right, so let me refresh this because this might be older stuff. Oh, okay, no, that was already refreshed. We're gonna go right into it. All right. Oh my God, I probably didn't actually reply in the comments. I don't remember doing that, so I need to go do that. Automated reply, let's go. Because Andrew had the specific questions. Yeah, so I just wanted to reply to that real quick. This must be referring to when I started thinking out loud about whether I should just focus on the reading or the grammar. And Subs is saying that Subs is totally okay with me just doing reading only, which is, I think, very helpful. Can I make the International March? So let me let me just type this out first and then I'll explain. But basically what I'm saying is that March International is not a QAS. So when March International 2022 comes out, maybe in like March US or like May US 2024, right? When it actually comes out in the future, which is kind of weird because the SAT format is changing. So what's going to happen to the QASs now that I think about it? Stresses me out. Okay, I'm not gonna think about that right now. I'm just gonna focus on what's in front of me. But when the questions from the March International come out in release form in the future, assuming that they do, then I'll be able to actually stream it. But right now, if there are copies floating around, that's basically contraband. so I can't use that material. Yeah, okay. I'm groggy. Let's keep it short. All right. So I do this, which is which I'm not offended that this kid may or may not know. Actually, I'm amazed that a kid is specifically requesting it, if anything, because one of the best ways of learning to do something is to watch someone who's really good at it do it. And we actually, as far as I can tell, in the test taking industry, no one really watches other people do it. But you know what that's completely unlike anything you do in sports or in music. You always watch other people do it, right? You watch people hit that ball. You watch people swing that club. You watch people swing that racket. You watch people tune and string and play, right? You watch people do these things, and you learn a lot by watching. It's the same thing, and video games are the same way. Math could even kind of be similar. I mean, math is interesting. Math and grammar, things that you can use like theory on really fast. You don't necessarily have to watch other people, because you can kind of you can follow their trail just by like looking at their proofs and stuff like that. So that one's a little different. But and a lot of things in life you learn by watching other people do it. And so why would reading be any different? That's sort of my whole approach. And if a student actually specifically wants to watch someone else solve things live, that's like amazing. It's amazing that student kind of intuitively knows that that's really effective. Which university? I'm University of Chicago. Go Birds. Also, maybe I should do a quick Chicago. I've done this search before. I wonder if I come out in any sort of old. Nah. Huh. Yeah, I guess the fundamentals department doesn't really what's it called? Right, like this right here. It'd be cool if my old questions, if they like had an archive of all the past students, but they only have the current students. Is there a way of but they might not, I don't think they even had this page when I was in school. So I'm just trying to see if I could fundamentals universe. I'm just like suddenly randomly curious about whether I can find myself. Dude, come on. I can't find it. All right. Well, okay. There's no cookie crumb, but there is. You know what I have? I have proof. University of Chicago Creative Writing, Heart of Chicago Poetry Contest, Solly. And this is this Saul? Yeah, this is me back in the day. The formatting got all broken when I guess they redid the thing, but this is 2011, so that's me. Anyway, Chicago, go Maroons. Let's go, Brennan, 770. The mean question, the data set mean question was a little annoying. That one was not that, like, the calculations are not that hard. You just have to go through them. It was where there was like 5 data points per. There were like 2 students who had like average like track times or something like that, or like a track like jump distance records or I don't know what it was, something like that, and you had to like find an average anyway. All right. Past released PSATs is also good material, so I do want to get over that as well. How is it not C? Okay, I gotta come. Oh, so sleepy. Can I not just, I get the same spam every time. Can I not just like block those, like that spam? How is it not C since the second to last paragraph talks about how he acquired his childhood nickname? Oh, okay. Now I have to go and look into this. Let's look at this. Oops. View on YouTube. For number 9, how is it not C?
Like, what do you do? Down here, you have to understand that even if you could get the units of the meeting before the part, after the part, you gotta understand that this is structured by C.
Okay, let me up the quality.
And you know why you have hypothesis about why it was so good means something about okay. Now my hypothesis is that it will choose variance and it's not going to interference to be allowed for actively, right? It's not going to go away. You know what I mean? It's really incredible.
This is previous, so. Where's number 9? All right, here we go. I'm gonna read this from a distance. Let's see, we have, based on the passage, the reason the narrator was amazed that the Swede had called him Skip was because he had not been, oh, what? There's no evidence that he'd been called Skip at all. That nickname is not Skip. Let's go find the passage real quick. Whoa. Oh, I see. Where's my passage? Here we go. So the nickname comes out on the next page, so I'm just gonna wait. He called you Skip, and I did feel almost as wonderfully singled out as I had the one time before at the age of 10 when the Swede had got so personal as to recognize me by the playground nickname I'd acquired because of 2 grades. I skipped. Oh, so his nickname was Skip. I actually misread that the first time. His nickname was Skip, but at the age of 10. Okay, so the other real reason is that, like, because I was going to say this too, but the other thing is that he never, we don't know when the last time he was called Skip was or wasn't. So let me go back to question 9. Okay, if you look at had not been called Skip, let's see. Had not been called Skip. Skip. Okay, so it's hard for me to type and chat at the same time, but basically, my explanation for this particular question is that there is no evidence that he had not been called Skip anytime. If you look at the paragraph,
This is B. Very good check now, because that's an actual, this is how you are not fully married. Yeah, this is the topic. That's already not fully married.
okay, yeah. So 9 is actually not as hard anymore because I thought it was a specific American cultural thing, and I interpreted it a certain way. But it was actually that interpretation is basically just wrong. He was calling him Skip because of the nickname he'd acquired for skipping two grades. So that means that this guy remembers him. Does that change my overall? Does that change my overall interpretation of this being about two Jewish Americans, and Skip, the sort of smart Jewish American, like looking up to the Swede, the athletic Jewish American? Does that change anything? Not really. Yeah. Just because the name Skip doesn't come from like a sort of generic American vernacular, it actually comes from him skipping the 2 grades. Just because that happens doesn't mean that any of the rest of my interpretation is wrong. So yeah, I think I would still stick with my interpretation, but I did misinterpret that part of the passage. Okay. That explains that answer. So. Becoming an insider. Okay. Oh, dude. So tired. Math question 16. Math question 16. Math question 16. Math question 16. Where's the... Okay, I see. Question 16. Yo, where's question 16? Alright, let's just skip around until I get 16. Alright. Wait, what? For 16? 3x plus 3y. What? Nope. Math without calculator? 16? Three x plus 3y equals divide both sides by 3. Well, that's definitely not 16. He's talking about something else. Oh, he's talking about 18. I see. Was this the one that there was like a little debate about? I'm trying to remember. What happened? What the heck happened? Let's see. I'm just trying to understand this comment. First, this makes sense. The combination that makes 8 is 1, 7. Actually, I do want to review this right now because I'm so confused. Yo, Dan, what's up? What do you mean no interest? Dan's my friend. He's just being a troll. What's up, man? Let's look at this question. It's so funny that this seems so obvious, but I don't know what happened. When y is 0, it's equal to 11. So now just feed that into 1. If I make this, I can let be 1. Okay, so what I'm realizing is this is a linear equation, and or what's it? A linear. I don't remember the word for this. This is a linear equation. So basically, I have to imagine this as being a line, and there's two lines, and I'm looking for basically intersect. I'm looking for the intersect. So Here I was looking at the x and y intercept for some reason, which is the wrong direction to go in the first place, because the x and y intercepts would not help at all find the intersect of these two lines. So I just need to find the x coordinate of the intersection, and how do I find that? Just solve for one of them and feed it into the other one is basically the quick and easy answer. Yeah. That's basically what I did, and I just made some sort of mechanical error. So Dan, since you are not an actual SAT student, I think you're sort of I don't know if you fully understand what this stream is about, but basically what happens is I'm just going through my YouTube comments, and so that's the situation. So for this, in the stream, I actually solved it. So I think my only reply to this is, yeah, you're right. All right. Moving on. Why is number 10 A, not D? Oh, and I replied to these verbally in my last stream. I replied to the way they tackled it in the comments is the sort of, what do you call it? Not purely theoretical math nerd version. It's just, it's like the sort of common sense option. Just sort of know those options and then go for it. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense too. Because that the SAT is probably not gonna, in that question, I can go back and double check. But actually, let me go back and double check. Hang on. All right, there it is.
Y is equal to 0, then x is equal to...
Oops. By the way, guys, Dan Park is a math major from University of Chicago, and he is a data scientist. So he would actually be much better at math than me. So if you are watching this video in the future and you see this random guy Dan in the chat, that's what that is. So yeah, no, it's actually a great approach. It is a great approach. I'm just coming back to this really quickly. The combination that makes 8 are these. I guess the one thing, right, the one way that you could be annoying about this is, technically we don't know that it's integers, it could be a fractional solution. The intersect of those two lines could be a fractional solution. So the assumption that it's an integer might lead you down the wrong path if it weren't like the SAT. If it were maybe a little bit more, especially if it was a math with calculator section. Yeah, if it was a math with calculator section, then you can't necessarily use this approach because it would be that intersect could be anywhere. When you're just looking at the two formulas, you don't necessarily know in which quadrant of the XY plane that it's actually intersecting, unless you're really fast at visualizing a freaking line just by looking at a formula. Maybe some of you guys can do that. So there is one limitation to Yuto's approach, but because this is SAT and because it's the math without calculator section, you can kind of sort of gut feel no, the SAT is not going to be stupid complicated about this. They're going to give me integer solutions. So just kind of go with that sort of common sense approach. So, I'll add that little caveat here. The only is that it's not necessarily true that the intersect of those two lines will be at a point x where x is a natural number or integer. this really only works. This really works because this really is a workable approach, mainly because this is the SAT math without calculator section. So you can kind of assume that the answer values be some unknown fraction. Okay, so yeah, had to do that. Dan, thanks for the little assist. The troll and the assist. That's my friend Dan. Everyone say hi to Dan. So going into, oh dude, I'm so groggy. Let's get into it. Could I do math calculator? So I gotta reply to that. I know I did reply to this. This is old comments. So I've already replied to all of these in my previous stream last Friday, I think. So I actually just failed to write up my answers. So I'm gonna go back through those. Let's just do a quick check on the. Let's do a quick check on the conversations we had in the SAT channel and Discord. Yeah, so that was a good question. Let me come back to that in a second. Let's go back to the top. So some people are talking about which material is best for learning writing. I sort of by default recommend Erica Meltzer, but I will say that I haven't been like paying attention to like the writing textbooks and curricula that have been, or like the writing programs that have been, popping up in the last couple years. So maybe there is something better than Erica Meltzer now. But back then, Erica Meltzer was sort of the standard to beat. Okay, here we go. So there's a question about Ivy League colleges. For full financial aid, do I need plus 1,500? And the quick answer is no. For full financial aid, you just need financial need, right? You just need to submit some forms that demonstrate your financial position, and it proves that you are not able to afford a certain amount. So each school will give you a certain offer, like, hey, we looked at your finances. It looks like you can't pay the full tuition. We agree with you there. We're asking you to pay $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 per year, or whatever, right? Each school will offer you their own financial aid package, and you will decide what is right for you after you get all your offers. Now, there's something called need blind admissions, which is specifically a promise that the admissions office and the financial aid office are separate. So the admissions aid office, if they are a need blind office, what that means is when they decide to accept you, okay, it means that they don't even talk to the financial aid office at all, which means that they have no idea whether you are wealthy or poor or anything. They just accept you for what you are. Now, they probably will have some idea, because they tend to know, if you're at like a sort of famous international school in Beijing or something, and they kind of just know that you're wealthy because of the context, then they that might potentially affect. It's not impossible to imagine that affecting their perception of you, right? But the point is that they don't actually know your numbers. They don't know your numbers at all. So they will accept you, and if you happen to need a lot of money, right? If you happen to need a lot of financial aid, that means that you are not negatively affected, okay, for need blind admissions offices. So if you are an if you are a domestic student, basically all Ivy League, I think all Ivy League colleges are need blind admissions, okay? If you're an American, if you have American citizenship and you're applying, you have the opportunity to be assessed with no regard for your financial situation, okay? They are not going to penalize you for costing you extra, okay? They're just going to accept you first. And then they will then give you the financial aid office will give you their offers, okay? If you are an international student, need blind is very rare. Almost never happens. Very, very few colleges have need blind international admissions. So what you'll see is that there's a couple exceptions. Amherst, MIT, Harvard, Yale, Princeton. Okay, those exceptions aside, all schools will take into account whether you need financial aid, or at least they reserve the right to take into account financial aid. So if you are from especially in particularly a country in which a lot of students actually go to the US for studies, like if you're from China, Korea, India, you might find that you needing financial aid statistically will make it harder, okay? The numbers will make it seem harder for you to get into the schools, okay? Because the financial aid office and the admissions office together may decide that it's not worth, right, paying for the tuition of a student where there's already a lot of other, Koreans, right? That's what it sounds like on the statistics. But that said, you should be aware that I've seen kids who need financial aid from Korea, like pastors' kids, for example. Like a pastor's kid who need financial aid because their parents don't have a lot of money, and so they don't even go to one of the sort of prestigious schools in Korea. They're just a naturally curious, intelligent, excited, good person, right? They still, even though they're from Korea, okay, I'm not gonna say who this person is that I know, but it's not impossible for you to be an interesting, good student and person applying from Korea, a highly, highly competitive area, right? And get into a top 5 college with financial aid. That's not impossible, okay? So just know that you're not judged by the statistics of your demographics. You're judged by who you are. And when at that level of individual detail, there is a bit of randomness, right? Because sometimes if you had a fairer admissions officer, maybe that admissions officer would understand your story a little better, right? And on the flip side, if maybe even if your admissions officer was in a bad mood at the moment that he or she was reading your application, that might affect your chances. So there's a bit of randomness there, right? Because the approach is very individual. But there's also a lot of positive from this, which is that you are not defined by your statistics. Okay, it's who you are. So I want you guys to not make decisions just based on statistics. Okay, make a decision based on what's right for you. Okay, what makes you a better person and what makes you grow. And if you keep following that for year after year after year after year, people will naturally notice that that's kind of who you are. And that will make you more attractive as an applicant, no matter what you do. Okay, so that's my thing about admissions statistics. Okay, so that's there. Let me get into Discord. So that was sort of the interesting conversation that happened over the week. There's a bunch of other conversations about specific things on the SAT. If you guys want to come into the Discord and get some help from other students who are just like you, kind of struggling and hustling it out, and also get some additional advice from me just here and there whenever I have time. Come in, welcome to the server, and ask any questions that you have. Guys, this was office hours for today. Sorry that I'm so low energy right now. This coffee is not saving me. I'll get some rest, and by later in the afternoon when I start my SAT stream, I'll be nice and ready and fresh, ready to go. Okay. So guys, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.